Okay, I'm back. I got some real cool stuff for you. Okay, you guys probably heard about the collective, right? And I had a couple videos from back in 2006. One was called Creating the Council, and the second one was called Creating the Collective. Now, these are things that I actually had to figure out how to build inside of the brain and how to link us all together. That actually has to do with your pineal gland, which essentially is like a transmission receiver, which can pick up transmissions not only from other people, but also from the Earth itself, from the solar system, from the galaxy. It can literally sink in and pick up recording, pick up information from any different level. It's absolutely amazing. This is part of the actual collective. When people talk about the collective, this is our link into it. Now, what's really neat is when I was playing with the Sacred G activators and the love chargers, when we started getting into really big bed sets, you know, literally like 10 layers of bed sets, I felt someone else come in who was on that much, and then I felt another person and another couple people, and I felt this collective. I felt my brain shift. All of a sudden, like I had information to stuff that I normally didn't have access to. And I started downloading stuff that wasn't mine. I knew it wasn't mine. I knew this information wasn't mine. I didn't know where it came from. And it wasn't just a channel. It wasn't some extraterrestrial entity. It was Earth information. Because there's a difference between things that you channel from some extraterrestrial entity from way out in space, or ascended master, or whichever you want to call it, and Earth information, which is highly detailed stuff on, like, you know, specific web structure, web design, marketing systems, stocks, you know, things that happen on the Earth, you know. So there's all of a sudden, and then I started thinking about it. Well, who's on this stuff? Well, these are their specialties. I'm downloading information from other people who managed to hit this state, which I knew existed, but I didn't know anybody else who achieved it before. And I used to actually call it a whole different operating system. There's a human operating system, which is a standard basic operating system for the human body. And then there's this humanitarian operating system, which opens up like the real service. So it's completely different. And it's actually, these two operating systems are actually grounded in the table elements. You have a hydrogen on your left side, and you have helium on the right side. The hydrogen, if you look down below, there's actually only two elements and then another two elements. So this is your duality, which is where most humans live their life. Black and white, right, wrong. You know, all the judgments, the separation, the confusion, all that stuff, right? Then there's this humanitarian operating system, which actually has to do with helium. And if you think about helium, it's actually floating. It's you lifting up. It's you rising above life. Okay, so it just that alone, if you start studying helium, it actually has all the characteristics of the ascended body, or of the perfect Adam Cadman body, which is, or light body, whichever you want to call it. Which is pretty interesting. But underneath that point on the table of elements, there's actually 6 more elements, and then another 6 elements. And of course, 6 has to do with the simulator and the 6 sides, and your 6 colors of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet or purple. And so those are your 6 points, and basically your 6 are options. You have options, you have choices, or you have judgments and separation, black and white. So there's a human operating system, then there's this humanitarian operating system, which opens up this full spectrum. So there are 2 different operating systems, which is really unique. Now, when you get deeper into it, you'll find that they all actually join together, and you can actually switch back and forth between these 2 operating systems. Now, this humanitarian operating system, though, that's what's so important, because that's where we're all unified, we're all one. And that's where in our spirit we are all one. There's only one spirit, one being. And then you get into this physical body, and this one spirit is separated through these physical containers, which isolate us and keep us as individual entities, individual identities. And so our physical senses are our abilities that we have here. Now, our spiritual senses are the ones where we're actually all unified. So if we can actually tap into this humanitarian operating system, or state of consciousness, which only requires more energy, and that's it, just energy. It just requires more energy. And the amount of that energy is that same equation. If you are in a survival state, you will automatically separate from the collective and move into your own individual state, your separation state. Now, as soon as you are generating more energy at nighttime while you sleep than what you use up during the daytime, your body realizes it's no longer dying. And then you can actually join back with this collective again, this humanitarian operating system where your body is no longer in a survival state. And what starts to happen, you start getting all the abilities and skill sets that exist inside this humanitarian operating system, which means we are all working together, all as one, unified, mass consciousness group of people to accomplish one purpose only: to activate the human body and to give us our true full potential and our powers of actual pure creation, pure manifestation. And when we get into these states, we actually start being able to access the collective. In other words, you can start accessing people's information. You can download them. It's amazing. Now, we're not talking about personal information because the body actually has protections and limitations against what you can download for another person. It's like a privacy act or a privacy type of law that's built naturally inside the body. It has to do with a quantum algorithms and stuff. It's complicated. I can explain it some days. Today is not one of them. But what's amazing though is that we can start downloading their lessons, their learnings, what they're doing, and you can get information, feedback from people. Now, we all kind of do this at some points. You know, when you're thinking about your friend and all of a sudden you're having a conversation and you can feel stuff that's going on, you call them up and you're like, hey, what's going on here? And it's the same kind of stuff, the same type of feelings and sensations and patterns that's actually took place in an internal conversation inside of your own head. We've all done this. Every single one of us, every single human being on a planet has actually done this before. Because there are times when we are in this humanitarian operating system, there are times when we are not. And it fluctuates. There's times every single day that we're actually in this state where we're all connected. It's just the majority of our time. That's what we want to do, is get the majority of our time into this humanitarian state so we can always be connected, so we can always be downloading and communicating information. Now, what does that? It's the actual flower of life design, which is the necklace that I'm wearing right here. Here's another flower of life design that's done a little bigger, which was a present from ITOM for me for my birthday. But this is the flower of life as well. And this flower of life here, which is very popular, it's like on massive amounts of like historical ancient buildings, etched in there, engraved in there. There's one stone where it's lasered in there from literally like a couple thousand years ago. They had lasers and they literally lasered this symbol into these rocks. And that symbol, the flower of life, literally stands for the collective. Now here with the fusion, you can see that I've actually connected the flower of life geometry and symbols with other circles and actually little G-spots. Now, if you study a little bit about Marco Rodin, you can learn all about the math of the actual G-spot design, which is absolutely phenomenal. But when I start connecting the G-spots, which represent each one of us individually, our own chemical and vibrational imprint, our own signature, connected to this grid, the technology itself has the ability to build a collective into your state of consciousness, into your awareness, and into your brain, and to activate it inside your body so that you can start downloading this information. Now, if you've ever done things like, or heard of it, things like remote viewing, some people believe in remote viewing, some people don't. Even the U.S. military had major programs they still do on remote viewing. In fact, most of the military programs on the planet all do forms of remote viewing. And it's literally your ability to project your consciousness and awareness to different places in space and pick up information and interpret that information so you can actually get feedback from places you've never even visited or been there. So it's almost like a form of teleporting your consciousness to a different location, gathering information, and teleporting it back. Now, when you start using this technology for abilities like remote viewing, it enhances it because it's got the mathematics built in for it. So this is just a little sample of some of the things that you start getting into with Sacred G Fusion. As you increase the development levels, your brain and your body will continually give you more access into what's taking place on the planet, what's taking place in our solar system, what's taking place in the galaxy, and it will literally grant you vision to be able to see, feel, and experience what it's like being there. It's absolutely amazing. Just one of the things that Sacred G Fusion is built for. Again, there you're going to want bed sets or layers of bed sets to get into that stuff, because that's the fun stuff, though. www.coreyherder.com.